Hello, I wanted to share my little art journal that I made. So this is made completely from recycled material. I love working with scraps. So I got this paper like this in the mail and I turned it into a junk journal. And I wanted it to be really raw, so I ripped the edges and it didn't rip evenly. It's all sorts of different heights and dimensions, and it's ripped. I didn't even cut it, I just tore it. So this is some paper that I had made with stamps. I had a stamp from a project. This was a project for a model for a motorcycle, I think, and parts of it broke, so my husband gave it to me and I used it as a stamp, and I used watercolor and ink to do this. And the cover, let's start with the cover. The cover this was a graphic that I got from a magazine. It was an art magazine, and I liked the graphic, so I had it going over to two sides from the front and the back, and here's some more of those stamps, and I think it's a book page and maybe some watercolor page. But anyway, so that's the cover. This was from Honey's Slim Pickin' Challenge. My 7-year-old gave me the products to use, and I'll put a link to that video so you can watch that. And these were stamps and watercolors mostly. This was cut out. This was from the Easter egg. There's a glare on that. But this was from the Easter egg. What is that called? Like the Easter egg little cardboard thing where you pop out the circles and you place your eggs in there. So I took the circles and I made them into little stamps and orbs floating there. There's really a glare on that. And the glare comes from the Mod Podge. It's the one that's sort of sticky. I usually use that with white school glue to make it not so sticky. This is a children's novel that I'm working on, and these are my lead characters, so when I'm not writing it, which I'm avoiding writing it right now, so I'm drawing about it. And this one, I took some household building material that my husband had laying around. It was sealant for a floor. I don't really know, but it's sort of plasticky, and it had like a mineral spirit feel to it. I don't really know what it is, or maybe if I'm gonna die because I've become toxic from using it, because of course I didn't use gloves, so I don't know. But I was working with some dimension, and this one, let's see if I can find the piece. This one somebody had sent me, and it looked like, oh, I don't think I can find it. I don't think I can find the piece right now. But it looked like when you pop out the jewels or the gems, the rhinestones, and you're left with all of those little circles, that's what this was. So I think she sent me the after part of her project with the rhinestones popped out. And this was from a little stencil that I had, the stars. So that was fun. I really like using found objects to create art with. This was just a little mindless doodle that I was doing, imagining a little nonsensical world with a little man who lives in a tree. This is watercolor and ballpoint. And this was a card, something about an apple a day keeps the doctor away. It was like a get well card. And I just cut out the apple because I like the apple. And I did some ballpoint and watercolors. And this I also have a video for. This was making recycled art, and this is a candy wrapper, and this is crayons and a Sharpie. And some more of those circle flowers. And I love working with remnants and scraps, so these are some remnants and scraps I had laying around. And these are really rudimentary supplies that I use. And when I work, it's really mostly intuitive without any plan at all. And here's an indication of one of my no planned artworks. These two pieces, I was experimenting with this circle dimension swap that was on the ATC, the artist trading cards, and I like following what they're doing, but I'm just not, I don't think it's good enough that I could actually swap with it. I wasn't that committed to it. So I took it and I broke it up and I turned it into this sort of sci-fi, maybe 1950 sci-fi looking thing. And this right here are just, these are different textures, different scraps that I had. This was where you see this mark here. This was a drawing that I did that I didn't like, so I tore it up and recycled it back into this piece. And what I love is I really only used one color of watercolor. I used this sort of yellow gold, and I love how the different materials pick up that color, and it gives a lot of dimension when you use different types of papers, because each paper grabs the watercolor a little differently. So I really love seeing how that happens. This was working with minimalism, and I like a lot of empty spaces too at times. I mean, the contrast between this crazy insane clutter and then this sort of zen open space work, I like that too. I really like exploring. I feel like I'm at a point of exploration where I'm just trying lots of different things. I'm at a point in my life where I can really devote a lot of time to art now, and I just feel almost childlike with this play of art and trying and exploring and no boundaries and lots of found items, and it's really such a beautiful, glorious time for me. So I'm really, really enjoying that. And this is this stamp again, and I did it on this is book text, and I would stamp, and then I'd pick a different color and I'd stamp, and then I'd use this is mostly watercolor, and then I would use my black ink stamp over it, and I did some more of that raised text with that building material, and it's the days of the week, and then I highlighted it with white watercolors. So that is my completely recycled, 100% salvaged book. Thanks for taking the time to watch, and if you enjoy crafting on a budget with found objects, please hit subscribe and let me know what you're doing, because I'd love to follow you. Thanks.